Hey everyone, Sirturmund here again. And today, by popular demand, I'm gonna bring you guys Udyr Gwen. So if you haven't seen where this deck came from, so one of our good friends and one of our community members on Discord and Twitch, his name is Metal, and he actually brought this Udyr Gwen deck to the Master Runeterra tournament last weekend and finished second place. And in the finals, he actually got banned. He ended up losing to a triple monkey lineup in the finals that just targeted his Katarina TF deck. But this deck actually got banned in the finals and was actually getting wins throughout the whole tournament. So people have been telling me that I should showcase this, and we're gonna go ahead and do it. Just give Metal some love and give Metal some credit because he does a lot for our community. So what is the idea of this deck? Obviously, we're playing Udyr, so we already love this deck. This is just failure Shadow Owls, and it's really just getting a lot of value with the Hallows, right? So the Hallow package from Gwen means that you can create a big overwhelm unit that can get buffed up even further with the Hallows to just push a ton of damage. So the idea is obviously just like any other Udyr deck, you're usually winning the deck with a big, beefy, leveled up Udyr that has overwhelm, has regen, has multiple stand swaps on it, and can just continue putting so much pressure on your opponent. The idea here is that because we're playing Shadow Owls, we get access to stuff like Vengeance and Atrocity, right? So Vengeance is really good because he allows us to kill a Kai'Sa on turn 5. So this deck ends up being really good against Kai'Sa because he can kill Kai'Sa with Vengeance, and he can also make your Udyr so big that the Kai'Sa cannot really kill it. And Atrocity can allow you to finish up some games. The other good part here, obviously the Hallow package is why we're playing Shadow Owls, but I also like the fact that we get access to Gwen. Because Gwen really likes the stance swaps, right? Gwen already has quick attack, so if you're able to put even just one stance swap on her and make her a 5/6, for example, she can start putting a lot of pressure really quickly. And the extra attack buffs, help out her skills when she levels up. And you can even put overwhelm on her. She gets buffed up by the Hallow, so that you end up with like a really big Gwen that can just push a lot of damage as well. So you kind of have some synergies here between the Gwen and stuff like that. The rest of the deck is really just playing a lot of chip units and a lot of the standard failure and shadow owl cards to actually allow your cards to survive, right? So we are playing the host, the butler, and the conductors in addition to Gwen for all our Hallow needs, right? The conductor actually is a lot better than people give credit for because of his high attack stat. 2 Elixir of Iron lets our Udyr survive against certain things, lets Gwen survive against certain things. 1 Omen Hawk, I don't know what this thing is doing here, but I figured that it's because he needs a little bit more one drops because we only have 3 here. So allows us to have an additional one drop for early blockers. 1 Glimpse Beyond, kind of give us some draw because this deck is lacking some draw. Inner Beast, just sitting guesses with Udyr. We talked about this. Torsion really good with Udyr as well. Battle Feast to remove opponent stuff. Wonder, Synergy as well with the stand swap. The 2 Jerks are here usually to draw Udyr, but Metal is actually playing triple All-Seer as well. So you could hit the All-Seer as well. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like every time I play Jerk, I want to be able to get the Udyr. But I also see how All-Seer can be really good sometimes at getting you just a lot more value with the stand swap in the cases that you don't draw Udyr, right? In case that you don't draw Udyr every single game, you can rely on the All-Seer to put those stand swaps on the Gwen, etc. and just get value that way. But I feel like if we were just running just Udyr, we increase our odds to draw Udyr. And didn't change anything from this list. I got it from the most recent ranked games that Metal did. So you guys can shoot him any questions on Discord for more explanation of why he has a lot of these one-offs and why they make sense for him in his deck. But enough about that. The deck is actually really fun. You guys know that I love Udyr, so it's always fun to play with Udyr. I also like Gwen. I think Gwen is one of my favorite new champions. So I'm always down for some more Gwen decks as well. So hope you enjoy the games coming up soon. And as always, if you like the content, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to us. We post our videos every single day. I'll see you at the end of the video for some mulligan tips. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Ziggs Taliyah. I think our Udyr can get big enough to be able to block like Taliyah and stuff like that. Oh wow, this is a great hand. I even like keeping the Vengeance. The Butler can eat up. Oh, Quinn also kept their whole hand. Wow, so okay, so both of us are gonna be having a lot of fun in this matchup then, right? So I'm gonna pass. Because if the opponent has the Rock Hopper, I want to eat up the vulnerable. Yeah, there you go. So we go ahead and do the Phantom Butler. We're gonna eat up the vulnerable, and I don't mind sacrificing the Phantom Butler. Since, you know, it's just gonna die to like a pokey stick anyways, but that's exactly what we passed. They always want to play that guy on turn 2. Here we still have the Whooping Wonder, and we also have the Gwen, and now we can also set up the Udyr later on. The only downside is that maybe we should have gone for the Wonder first. Okay. I'll take this. I'll take this because this card is gonna die eventually, right? This card is gonna die eventually. The only downside here is that Gwen is not gonna be able to really survive against a Rider Arcane. So if the opponent just blocks with the Gwen, opponent just blocks with the Devout, sorry, and then does the Rider Arcane, and then we get hit by 5. That's better than them doing it right now. So they shouldn't do it right now. The Rider Arcane is a little bit problematic for us. I wonder if I'm ever putting the stance swap on the Gwen. I think I am. So let's play around that Rider Arcane, right? So let's play around that Rider Arcane by putting the stance swap on her right now. Right? The downside here is that we cannot block. So we're still not able to block. I guess we can, right? So if we go with the Inner Beast, I'm forcing the opponent. So this is forcing the opponent to have to use the Rider Arcane by killing their own mana. So we still lose the Gwen, right? But the opponent is using the Rider Arcane and sacrifices 1 mana gem to actually kill it. We're never blocking here because otherwise he can just kill the sarcophagus with the Rider Arcane. So this is, they lose their 6 and they also will lose 1 mana. If they don't do it now, then the Gwen just regenerates and the opponent's back to square 1.
This one could use a trim.
Quicksand? Okay, Quicksand is good. Quicksand is good because it also means that my Gwen doesn't regenerate, right? So my Gwen doesn't regenerate because she doesn't get the value from... She actually doesn't get the regen value until next turn. What we can do instead is that we can go ahead and do this then. That way she's out of range of a Rider Arcane. And now we just need to play around a second Rider Arcane. Is she leveling up here? She is? No, she's 1 off. She's 1 off from being able to level up. She's 1 off from being able to level up. Oh, okay. Well, if the opponent's passing, we just pass back, right? Because again, we're still playing around that Rider Arcane. We're still playing around that Rider Arcane. The only downside here is that if we block the 6, we are losing to the Rider Arcane, right? Drop the bomb, really. I don't want to summon the Udyr until we can level him up so that he doesn't die to the Rider Arcane right away. So I'm going to take it very slow here. I'm going to take it very slow, knowing that we don't have to block with Gwen. We can just block the Devour with the Whooping Wonder. The only downside is that we do lose to 2 Rider Arcanes, right? Okay, he's just going to go for Taliyah then. She's not yet leveled up. Okay, so Rider Arcane is 4. If we commit the stance swap on the Gwen right now, we can block everything that the opponent does. We can block everything except for the 6. So we can block everything except for the 6, and we can summon up the Udyr. Because the Udyr is now leveled up. So the 6 is the only one that puts the Gwen at 4 HP. Everything else we can block with no problem. And here we go. We get a leveled up Udyr, which also doesn't die to the Rider Arcane. And we can put the Overwhelm on the Gwen if we wanted to, right? So the question is, do we put the Overwhelm on the Gwen? Or do we put the Overwhelm on the Udyr? I guess we can do both. I mean, I guess we cannot do both, but it's more damage if we put it right now. She still gets to attack, opponent still needs to block it. If we don't put any Overwhelms right now, then opponent doesn't need to block any of them. So by doing it this way, we get a 0-cost stance swap. Gwen is still not close to leveling up, so I like putting the Overwhelm on the Gwen. I like putting the Overwhelm on the Gwen. That also buffs up the Udyr, so that he's out of range of like a Rite of Arcane, right? If anything, we'll have the Inner Beast as a backup to protect us. And this is gonna level up Gwen right on the spot. She has Overwhelm, Regen, and so much value here. That's her Naturalist. So by opponent it doing this way, they're trying to have our Udyr die, right? We could technically attack with the Wonder as well. Because what they want to do is that they want to block with the Grumpy Bear and then be able to use... so they want to block with the Grumpy Bear and then be able to use Rite of Arcane, right? So they're telegraphing that Rite of Arcane super hard right now. Problem is that once they commit it, right, we can do the Inner Beast and then do the Regen Stand Swap on the Udyr. So they will have to have double Rite of Arcane, or they need to have Rite of Negation on top of the Rite of Arcane. Because this is not going to be enough to kill the Udyr, even if the opponent sacrifices their Scrappy Bomb. Oh, so now they just can't do it anyways. Wow, so now they just can't do it anyways. They're just going to try to aggro us down. Can they aggro us down over here? I don't think they can. Not through Vengeance. Not through Vengeance and us having another blocker right here. The Taliyah is not even leveled up. It's really just a 6, and they cannot even attack with the 6. And any damage they do, we're just gonna knock it off with the Gwen. We can put the Overwhelm on the Udyr next turn, and I think we win this game. We even have Vengeance. So we have Vengeance and we have the Babbling Jerk, giving me enough blockers for everything that the opponent tries to do. Sure. Like, that's not enough. I mean, this guy's with the Overwhelm is not even enough. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. This is nice because this gives me a 0-cost Stand Swap next turn. So, what is he gonna do here? Yeah, he wants to summon the Landmark. So he wants to summon the Landmark and then be able to destroy... Oh, I get it, because that's gonna level up the Taliyah. That's gonna level up the Taliyah. That's interesting. So he used the own 6 spell there. Okay, so Taliyah is dealing 6. So we could technically kill her with Inner Beast. Or we could just do the Vengeance. I think we should do the Inner Beast, because if the opponent has a way to stop that, we always have the Gwen's Tread the Needle to be able to stop her, right? So we just go here. This literally keeps the Udyr alive. Opponent will have to have something else on top of everything that he's doing here. I'm not even gonna commit the Stand Swap because this always dies to a Rite of Arcane, right? So this is always dying to a Rite of Arcane, so we might just want to put this on the Gwen anyways. If the opponent doesn't do the Rite of Arcane, I'm gonna do this on the Udyr. Okay, perfect. So now we can go ahead and do what you talked about. So we put this on the Udyr. So now the Udyr has Overwhelm. We summon the Hiara Seer, giving us access to another value with the Gwen. That's not gonna matter to us. Yeah, sure. I guess the opponent could have the Stun Landmark and stun buff our units. All that did was actually get more Hallow buffs in the graveyard for us. And this is where our attack gets really big, right? Yeah, that's not gonna work. We don't need to slow play him anymore. We have lethal for everything, especially since we have access to the Vengeance. Opponent just stepped out of Rite of Negation. This is literally dealing so much damage with the Overwhelms through it, and that's game. So we ended up getting like the full value right here of the Udyr Gwen combo. I wonder if the opponent actually had the Rite of Arcane, because to this day they still haven't played it. They didn't play it last turn, so maybe they were bluffing me the whole game. But I think it was important for us to play around the Rite of Arcane the way that we did, so that we could be completely safe from everything that the opponent might do. So GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Kai'Sa. And I think we actually have good matchup versus Kai'Sa, as we saw Metal piloting this deck in the tournament. I do want to be able to draw that Vengeance, so I think it's a lot better into Kai'Sa if we draw the Vengeance. But I also really like having Gwen. Maybe just the Wonder. Maybe just the Wonder and potentially join to the Udyr, because having Udyr is probably more important. We get the Vengeance. This is not a guarantee Udyr because we play the Hiara Olseer. And that's probably my one thing that I don't like about this deck as much as that we're playing Hiara Olseer. I don't think the benefit that she brings are enough to justify potentially having this break, right? Because I think most of the games you want to have Udyr instead of Olseer. But again, we're kind of just playing... We're just playing a metals list, so we're just gonna go for it, right? I think opponent kind of trolling here a little bit. Maybe they just want to evolve as soon as possible. But this means that we can kill this Balor, right? Opponent has 3 keywords, so we can just do it with the... Oh, okay, so he's gonna... So he did it so that he could do it this way. So now he has Tough and the Balor. Again, we still have the Vengeance for the Kai'Sa. I'm gonna pass. See, opponent never attacking here because he can lose to the Inner Beast. Let's go ahead and do the Yerk. We're gonna do Vengeance next turn. Hiara actually ends up being really good in this current matchup. So it's okay. I'm gonna attack with everything again. Opponent just set to block. The downside is Kai'Sa, right? Kai'Sa is gonna come down. And opponent can just win the game. We know he has another Kai'Sa, by the way, because this Kai'Sa came from the right. So now the next Kai'Sa that the opponent plays is going to have access to Balor anyways, and it's still going to have the Scout and the Challenger. We're nowhere near close enough to level up the Udyr, so it's never going to matter. And here comes the second Kai'Sa, which we don't have a Vengeance for, meaning that it's going to kill our Udyr regardless, right? So maybe we don't actually summon Udyr. Maybe we actually do the Hiara Olseer. Maybe we do the Hiara Olseer, because at this point, what we want to do is that we want to bring out the Udyr once it's already leveled up, right?
I see well enough to kill.
We want to bring out the Udyr once it's already leveled up. Technically, we can potentially move an Atrocity now, right? We can potentially move an Atrocity. Our next stance up is also going to cost 0. We can just continue working on this Olseer. This is getting dicey for the opponent. They need to win this turn. But again, they also still need to level up Kai'Sa, which, of course, they get a third Kai'Sa, right? So they get a third Kai'Sa, allowing them to level it up. We can remove the spell shield because of the Troll Shan. And if the opponent gets greedy, we can kill Kai'Sa. Okay, opponent plays it smart. Opponent plays it very smart. If we go like this, we remove the spell shield to start up with, but and the Spiderling dies, so opponent still doesn't have anything good that they can challenge. The only downside here is the fact that we're not able to actually play double stance swap, right? I need to try to just level up this Udyr. I think I need to just try to level up this Udyr. He gets another supercharge. Ha. So with the second supercharge, Trollshan, Inner Beast. This puts me at 8. Trollshan puts me at 10. We remove the spell shield. An opponent can still kill us if they have like something like Concerted Strike. We could have done the Trollshan right now before the opponent puts the spell shield, but I actually think it's better to remove the spell shield after the fact, because it's gonna be one less, right? So if they do the supercharge right now, then obviously it means that the opponent doesn't have the value to do a rite of. That's it. So now they just lose to this. Now they just lose to the Trollshan then, right? This is 4 keywords, so this is dealing 4. This puts me at 4. Then we can put it back to 6 and remove the Kai'Sa. If the opponent doesn't do anything, then we're just probably gonna overwhelm the Udyr. Still not enough. Now, we know that the opponent has another Kai'Sa, right? We know that the opponent has another Kai'Sa. And they have just enough mana to do both Kai'Sa plus Cataclysm. So we need to start here. This gives me the 0-cost stand swap because of the Hiara Ulseer, which has to go to the Overwhelm, right? Now, the best Overwhelm target is still probably gonna be the Hiara Ulseer. But it's probably not. Now that the opponent did it this way, I think it's actually gonna be the Udyr. Is that true though? Because my fear here is that the opponent will be able to single combat or concerted the Hiara Ulseer. If we go here, this only takes us up to 12, which is not enough for lethal. And the opponent just does Kai'Sa next to and wins the game because he has Overwhelm, Supercharge, and everything. Man, that scout is so gross. Is there a way for us to win this now? What if we regen here? Knowing that we can never go for lethal here. What if it's just regen? Problem is the Overwhelm of the Kai'Sa. And that the fact that the opponent has 3 different units. I mean, we can force him to block here. Right? So we're forcing them to block by going with the regen on the Hiara Ulseer. They don't have any good blockers for her now. But the Kai'Sa still finishes the game. Because the opponent gets even more keywords. Either the Augment or the Formidable. How can we have dealt with 2 Kai'Sas and still about to lose this game? Just because opponent instead of having the 3rd one. That's absolutely nuts. That's absolutely nuts. No Halo buffs in the graveyard, which also kind of make it a little bit awkward. Concerted Strike kind of still loses us the game. We can make him lose his Radiant Guardian. Void Blaster? So Void Blaster is good because it means that the opponent doesn't have to actually block now the Ulseer. And now he actually has enough damage for lethal on the open. So we still probably don't want to attack with the Hiara Ulseer then, right? This is forcing a block. This is forcing a block, right? This is forcing a block out. Because otherwise the opponent just loses. Opponent has lethal a couple different ways here. They can just open attack. And if they just open attack, they win the game. But it's probably better for them to go for Kai'Sa, right? Because that way they play around like a Vengeance. It has to always be better to play Kai'Sa here. That sucks. That sucks. We're 1 off. We're 1 off. Wow. So we're gonna have to do the atrocity. We're gonna have to do the atrocity on the Kai'Sa. And that's still not enough because opponent still has more units than we can deal with. Yeah, opponent still has more units than we can deal with. Maybe he gets greedy with the scout, allowing me to summon the blocker, but then he can just always challenge this guy away unless he pulls the Udyr.
I don't, but I must help.
So now opponent makes it so that the atrocity doesn't even matter. If I knew that the opponent was gonna do that, we could have done the Warden there, right? Instead of the Battle Feast. But I didn't realize that the opponent was gonna get so greedy that we're gonna summon a second one. Never expected the opponent to get this greedy. Like, that's as greedy as you can get. And they might have only done it because we removed the spell shield, right? So if we don't remove the spell shield, there's probably no reason for them to go that way. I could have played with the idea of us getting the atrocity by putting the thing on the Ulseer. That could have been an option. Yeah, we can't go. Looking back at that, I mean, we only take one atrocity, right? So looking back at that, knowing that there's no way for us to win unless we top deck atrocity, because because we know that the opponent has the last Kaiser in their hand, then I think it had to always be the +2/+2 in the Hiara Allseer, just so that we could win with the atrocity there. So slight misplay on my part then. So GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Thralls. I don't know how this matchup is gonna go. Wow. I mean, Udyr could get really big, which is probably a plus sign. So why don't we try hard mulliganing for Udyr? I just think that Udyr gets very punished by so many things, right? The Three Sisters, the Entomb by Lysandra, the Three Sisters with the Flash Freeze or the Entomb as well. That I really don't have hope for Udyr actually winning us this game, unless we also draw like an atrocity.
Our eyes lead to hidden powers.
I do like the idea of just trying to do as much damage as possible right now. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do the Conductor. If the opponent has Avalanche, then they have the Avalanche. I don't mind this. It means that they're delaying the Thralls by one more turn. Okay, they don't have the Avalanche, so we're going to go ahead and just push. Nah, we don't need to. We don't need to. This is always going to die anyways to Ravine. So maybe that was a reason why we should have attacked there. Yeah, maybe it was right. Maybe it was right to attack there because of the Ravine anyways killing this. If it was a host, I would have attacked there for sure. Yeah, because Ravine always kills that card anyways. It just didn't matter because even if we did that, his Lysandra still. Yeah, we lost 2 damage. He had to always be attacking with the one there. In this matchup, you always should assume, right? You always should assume that your unit's gonna die anyways. So it makes no sense not to. So opponent really has Lysandra on the field, so like we talked about. If they have Entomb, they just get so much value here.
Come on in.
It's not Entomb, so I'm gonna do the regen. Gonna do it right now so that we obviously get another stand swap, right? We have 1 Hallows, so we can actually attack like this. Opponent's always blocking here, I guess, so maybe it was correct to always attack with the Udyr because opponent's never blocking the Udyr. Yeah, another slight misplay. It was always correct to put the Udyr first because opponent's never blocking the Udyr in that position. He's always blocking the other card, the 3/4. At this point, it's all about 2 things. Can we survive through the freeze or the Entomb? And I don't know if I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. Now we can level up Udyr next turn because we can go double Hiara, right? So we can go 1 Hiara here. So actually, we can level up Udyr no matter what, right? So we can go 1 Hiara here. That puts Udyr at 2 out of 3. On the open, we open with another stand swap to level up Udyr. And then we can summon the 3rd Hiara to get another stand swap. But again, we lose very hard to Entomb or 3 Sisters. 3 Sisters is a 3-off. Entomb with the 2 Lysandra. So there's 5 cards. There's 5 cards we lose to in his deck. They could also be... I've seen some lists running the 4-mana freeze that summons the Thrall. But if the opponent's playing double Perseverium, I feel like they're probably not playing that card. Quicksand is also an option. There's just so many cards that we lose to. Just way too many cards that we lose to. At least our Udyr is strong, right? At least our Udyr is strong. Are they just gonna commit to summoning the Thrall then? So the reason that I want to use the stand swap when we open up the game is because if we summon the Hiara, then they will count twice. So I don't think that's correct. The good thing about here is that if the opponent has Entomb, they should use it right now, right? Because if they let this get overwhelmed, then it means that it comes out with Overwhelm next turn. So maybe that's an argument for us to potentially have done the Overwhelm last turn instead of the 2/2. Wow. So now what? Now what? Might need to keep that vengeance. Might need to keep that vengeance for the throw. Especially because the opponent just went all in for a single throw. The opponent literally just went all in for a single throw, huh? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So it has to be in Tomb or the Freeze. And if it's the Freeze, it doesn't matter because we can regen.
Their fear is wise.
So if the opponent has to, they have to go for the Entomb. And once they do the Entomb, then we can do the Vengeance, because the opponent would not have access to Random Negation, right? And the Entomb means that we just do the same thing next turn. If they go to 1, they also die, right? So going to 1 is not an option. The fact that they only summon 1 throw, right? It means that this game should be ours. Udyr's already leveled up, and opponent only summoned 1 throw. They didn't hit us with like 3 or 4 at a time. So they couldn't copy it with Taliyah. Yeah, there it is. Here comes the Entomb. Yeah. But again, this summons an exact copy. So imagine if we had another Udyr right here. Imagine if we had another Udyr right here, how much punish the opponent would get. Unfortunately for us, we don't have a second Udyr. So that kind of sucks. But, you know, bygones be bygones. Let's go ahead, we kill this. Now that the opponent tapped out of our negation, that's the only throw so far. That's their 3rd Perseverance, so the opponent has a lot of draws, I can tell you that. But just not enough value. They will have Taliyah leveled up if they have Taliyah right here. Which I'm guessing they're probably going to go for the Taliyah. I'm just going to summon the Elseer then. I'm going to summon the Elseer because every stance that we do is going to buff up the Udyr even more, right? And we can start having alternate win conditions than just Udyr by buffing up the Elseers. Alright. Bad hand for the opponent, no throws, even after drawing an extra 5 cards so far, and you tell me you don't have the second Harbinger? That tells me that they have the second Lysandra though. So this is gonna get stopped one more time. The good thing here is that, hey, guess what happens? We get the Udyr stance swap right back because he gets summoned. You can go here. This is pushing 13. If the opponent doesn't block with Lysandra. This is lethal here, so opponent has to freeze. Second Entomb. So that's the Lysandra. I said that the opponent just lost their Lysandra here too. So now it's one less Lysandra that we have to worry about. And we do it a 3rd time again next time. I said that now, like we talked about, our Elseers are going to be bigger and bigger. And opponent just the 3rd Lysandra. Can he trigger that throw quickly? There's a possibility. There's a possibility. I'm trying to debate if I want to spread out my damage. Or if I want to have at least one thing. Right? If I want to have at least one unit that can block a throw. I'm trying to debate if it's correct to have at least one unit that can block a throw, or is it just better to spread everything out? I guess let's have at least one of these also have regen. That way there'll be a 9 HP, so we can actually block a throw. Let's go ahead and just do this now, might as well. And I'm willing to do this as well. Just gonna get another Hallowed Death in our graveyard. This one can block a throw. We're not getting... The good side that the opponent has is that our hand is also bad, right? Aside from the Udyr, we're really not getting a lot of value. Not really getting a lot of value. Opponent doesn't have space for Taliyah, so even if the opponent draws Taliyah, it's not a big deal. How is this game gonna take this? This game is gonna take a while. So this game is gonna end up taking a long while, just because of the fact that the opponent has so many freezes, right? But just like it happened last turn, we once again go back to having a full board of Udyrs, right?
Woman and a blind goat?
Heck, let's even attack with the little guy. It doesn't matter to me. Because technically, if the opponent doesn't block this guy and he gets hit with everything else, it should be lethal. Answer times. That's still 15. That's still 15. Opponent needs to have another Entomb. And they're going to lose Lysandra again. This one has regen, and we can make it bigger. Sandstorm times again. Is that enough? That is enough. That gives you a 2 and keeps your Lysandra alive. So keeps you at 2, keeps your Lysandra alive, gives you 2 different units, right? Now opponent's looking for a way to kill us. This All-Seer is big enough to kill his Thralls. So we're gonna buff this one up again. Opponent will need to have 2 more Entombs to actually get through to us, even if they summon 2 Thralls this turn. Now, if they have Taliyah, that's the only time that it gets a little bit dicey. So yeah, we're just gonna make that one All-Seer be really, really big here. Because she can block everything. Sure. Let's do the Conductor. It's a decent blocker. Even if he dies, it's okay. Opponent should definitely have Taliyah here. And if they have 3 Thralls, that's when it gets a little bit dicey. But then we have multiple ways to win this game. I don't want to do Atrocity yet. Opponent already committed 1/3 Sister and has used Lysandra's Entomb twice. But could have drawn the 3rd Lysandra again, right? And could also have different value. So I want to take it a little bit slow. I want to take it a little bit slow and let them tap out of stuff. Before we commit the Atrocity. Because we're the ones that have all the pressure here. His Thralls can't do anything about these 2 big regeneration units. Sure. We even have access to like Trojan and stuff. Very nice. Okay, so very nice means that we can just commit the Atrocity because opponent taps out of mana and that's game. And there we go. So he was trying to have us tap out of mana before he did the very nice. And that's why I kept open attacking every time as well to play around that very nice thing. So 2 kind of awkward hands from both us and our opponent, but because we got the Udyr in place, he ended up working out for us. I would have liked to have more Gwens and even a second Udyr instead. Like at any point in that game where we have a second Udyr, I feel like we win the game. Because we have 2 Udyrs on the field, opponent has too many threats to deal with because both Udyr have been leveled up. But it's fine. Ends up working out anyways, so we end up winning. Here we'll be going up against Aphelios Viktor, which is going to be really bad for us, but maybe not. Maybe now that we get the Omen Hook, it's not going to be as bad as I thought, because it gives me like an early blocker that the opponent probably wasn't expecting. And we have a pretty good curve here, right? We can level up Udyr very quickly. They'll probably miss Wind and Light. Wind and Light, Wind and Light. Kind of makes all our dreams very sad if the opponent can get a really big board early on. We also don't have any of our 1 cost blockers or anything like that. So I need to draw my other early units. That's perfect. Let's attack first. Let's just push the 1 damage. If opponent wants to block with Duskbringer, that's okay with me. Like if you're gonna block now, why didn't you attack last time? Do the host. Good thing we have Gwen, right? Gwen will allow us to heal up. Yeah, Gwen will allow us to heal up. Cool. So opponent just gives us the free Gwen and start leveling up from here. Opponent could have Viktor in this spot, which I guess could be a problem. But Gwen is gonna just level up in 2 attacks. And how is the opponent gonna deal with this 4/5 Gwen? And we're gonna have Udyr as well, and Hiara also here. Ooh, this is gonna get spicy. There's no way. Do you think he commits? Okay, I thought he was gonna commit like way more stuff. Honestly, this feels like a place where we troll champ. This feels like a place where we troll champ. Force the opponent to have to commit one more spell here if they want to. The unit stays alive. Opponent will have to trade, right? So opponent will have to trade their unit anyways. We'll always attack it here because he can always, you know, he can always trade with it Leinster anyways. And we get the Gwen attack to go through. The only downside to doing that is that now we don't have the mana to do the Udyr stand swap as soon as he comes down. So that could be the only consideration why we don't do that play. Opponent gets quick attack. That's nice of them. That's nice of them. So third Gwen. Third Gwen is probably not great, right? I like the pass. Really? Really? We might have to commit that Gwen to kill that Viktor. We might actually have to commit that Gwen to kill that Viktor now.
The stronger your shadow.
Which really sucks. We have enough, yeah, because we don't have enough to play both Gwen plus the second Gwen. The opponent has to commit one of their cards though. Doesn't do it? That's a mistake. That was your chance to get that Gwen. Summoning this Udyr was a little bit greedy. It had to be Hiara, by the way. He always had to be Hiara. You know what? Go ahead. If you wanna block with Viktor, block with Viktor. Doesn't even block with the Viktor. Doesn't even block with the Viktor. Is this ever gonna level up? I really don't wanna sacrifice the Udyr. I don't think we sacrifice the Udyr. I think we save the Udyr. We can just do the Gwen's NATO on the Viktor so that we can kill it. I'm just not gonna do it right now because I'm waiting for the opponent to commit more stuff to it. Okay, well, I guess we do it now. Well, Winding Light, huh? Opponent's just trying to kill us with Winding Light. So Winding Light, this is gonna be 6. Winding Light is 12. This is gonna be 16 plus 2 more. That's gonna be 18. We lose to the Winding Light. We lose to the Winding Light now. Damn it. So it has to be Atrocity. We don't have enough for Atrocity. Because he's able to pull everything away from us. We can kill. So we cannot do it now. We're going to have to commit the needle to survive, right? But it doesn't matter because even if we do that, the over 1 damage still goes through. Oh. Oh. What? That's it? That's it? Really? Really? Hell? Trip 3 spells? No, he's gonna get punished by the second one. Oh, that feels so bad. I'm sorry, opponent. And now you used up all your burn anyways. So now you used up all your burn and lose your Viktor and your second Viktor, and I get a fierce here. I get a stand swap. Oh, that feels bad. That feels bad. Wow. Hiara Ulseer, overwhelming the Udyr, and that should be enough. Opponent has, okay, opponent could go into it, right? Opponent could go into the Graviton, but they have to commit the Dust Petal right now. Maybe I messed up. Actually, maybe I messed up. Because now opponent could easily go into the... No, they will have to commit... They will have to commit a lot of cards, right? They will have to commit... Because they need to commit 2 cards first. Because they didn't cycle the weapon. So even if they commit 2 cards right now, they're only getting access to the Calibrum. They will have to have a second Aphelios here for us to lose. So it has to be second Aphelios. If the opponent has the second Aphelios... Because the next weapon he gets is Calibrum or Severum. That's a good one. Severum. Okay, okay. Is that still enough? With the Halo buff, that's going to be 10? Yeah. So they messed up by not sacking the weapon, and they got punished by us having the 3rd one. So we got a little bit lucky that they didn't have Winding Light. If they have Winding Light there, they win the game. But the opponent ended up having the burn instead, and we were able to just punish and kill that Viktor with the step up. Very lucky game. Shouldn't have been that way, but I'll take it. GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Poppy Bar. I think this deck is going to be a little bit too fast for us. Vengeance is not bad. 1 Vengeance might be okay, because it's really our only way to remove that that Poppy. And the Battlefield gives me a little bit of early blockers. Oh man, 2 Vengeance is a little bit too bad though. Just 1 was okay. Atrocity is also not great. So we're getting like all our late game stuff. I kept the Battlefields because I do know that they have played. They hit the 2 Shimes. Figured they play enough enough 1 health units that I was okay doing it this way. Let's take this out of the way right now. Let's take this out of the way right now. Might be a mistake, because now it... Oh, well... Yeah, no, it doesn't tap me out of it, right? Because we can always just Vengeance. But it does mean that now I cannot play this. I would have liked to play this. Like, I would have really liked to play this. But I need to keep the Vengeance for the Poppy. An opponent has 2 good attackers here. Hits another 2 Shimes. So now he has 4 Shimes. Yeah, that's the Poppy. We stop her. That goes 2 of the Shimes. When he still gets 2 favorable attacks right here. We don't block, I think, with this guy. I guess we could have, because we have access to the stand swap. But I think I want to play the Yerk instead of anything else. Or we can just play Udyr now. Ooh. Wow. Okay, let's just play Udyr. We can attack his sharp side. Right? We have Vengeance to protect the Udyr. If opponent does an open attack, we can just do the stand swap on it. Opponent has enough ways to push a lot of damage here. Okay, yeah, I think we always just Vengeance this. Now, if the opponent has the rally, this is where I get punished. But if they have the rally, they're gonna have to attack with the Fleet Feather. That cannot kill the Udyr anymore, right? But I guess if they have the rally, okay, so they have the rally, right? They have the rally, but the rally still doesn't do anything here. Yeah, okay, right. I was gonna say rally wouldn't do anything here, so it has to be. We have to open up with this. So we have to open up with this before the opponent can play a Bannerman. I like the region. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we don't have to region. Maybe we can just do this again. Because now that means that he cannot block with the Broadwind. When he's down to 2 cards. If he wants to block this here, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And now he has to he kinda has to open, right? Because otherwise the Udyr does the stand swap. Remember, we're also leveling up the Udyr right here. Yeah, he has to go here, which 100% makes sense. So he's gonna try to kill the Udyr. If we just leveled up Udyr right here, do we die? What if we don't bother to level up Udyr just yet? Because if the opponent has... No, well, if the opponent has the rally, we're dying, right? So I think it has to be like this. If the opponent has the rally, at least this way, we keep our Udyr alive to have one blocker. But if the opponent has exactly rally plus one more unit, we lose. Or if they have another challenger right here, we also lose. No, because we can summon another blocker. So this means that they lose one of their attackers, right? I'm gonna wait. That's the rally, right? We play... Remember, Udyr's gonna die here, right? So we're gonna play the Yer so that we could potentially join another Udyr. And now we get a 0... Well, we really have a 0-cost stance up anyways, but we can go like this. The second Udyr just wins. Does he win? Atrocity 7. Opponent could rally again. But if he has the rally again, he needs to do it on this guy. Doesn't have the rally again, so we can go for the overwhelm now. Problem is that this guy still blocks us. We still have more blockers though. Is the Troshan enough? Troshan is enough. Troshan is enough to keep this alive against that. Unless the opponent has exactly sharp side. Because it puts me to 11, so this survives at 1. So opponent would need to have exactly sharp side, doesn't have it, then next we win with Atrocity. In order for us to win with Atrocity, we probably want to play the Conductor just so that we're fully safe. So once again, we have blockers for everything. Udyr's gonna die one more time, but we can just Atrocity, or we can play it slow. I think now that we drew the last Udyr, I'm gonna play it slow. I'm gonna play it very slow. Alright? We have enough blockers for days, because we can always summon the Ghastly Band. And here we go. The Ghastly Band gives me the third blocker, so even if the opponent has the rally, it doesn't matter. There was no reason for us to commit the Atrocity there and lose to like a random Concerted Strike or anything like that, because the Udyr was so weak. Once we drew the third Udyr, it was fine to just play it slow, because the opponent was never going to beat this leveled up Udyr anymore, so GG's. Hey everybody, welcome back. So, I hope you enjoyed those games. We had some really good games there. We had some really close games. That Kai'Sa game still lives in my head, right? I do feel like I should have played for my out, right? We talked about it a little bit. I should have played for my out of Atrocity, but it didn't cross my head that we could draw the Atrocity for some reason. When other times I have tried to play for that, you know, top deck win condition. Aside from that, really pretty straightforward. You see it's still an Udyr deck at the core, so you still want to be able to just send down that Udyr and just finish the game with him. You don't want any protection for him though, so it can be a little bit harder. So maybe sometimes you don't have to overcommit to the Udyr. You can like commit some stances on Gwen, or even on the Ulseer sometimes instead of just the Udyr, because Udyr by himself might not be enough with how much removal there is out there in the current game. Aside from that, in terms of mulligans, obviously you kind of want to keep some of your early blockers, especially if you're going against a mid-range or aggressive deck, so that you're not just losing too much health so quickly. So I don't mind keeping Omen Hawk is always a keep, right? So Omen Hawk, Hose, Butler, and Bullpin Wanderer are all really good keeps on turn 1. Aside from that, I do like keeping one Udyr if I get him, because he's just so important to this deck. And then you also keep Vengeance if you're going against Kai'Sa, or against another deck that you know you have a big threat that you need to remove. Everything else is going to be flexible depending on the matchup, right? Battle Feast against aggro and it's doing really good, etc, etc. So just kind of play by ear and see who you're going against and the tools that you need to actually be able to win the game. Enough about that though. Hope you enjoyed this deck. Really interesting deck. I don't know if I like this better than other Udyr decks, and so unfortunately we're just kind of doing this to satisfy the request and satisfy metal. I feel like Udyr is a little bit better with action that we showcased last week with Rich Masters with it, or even with like Ionia. Actually, maybe not Ionia. I really just like Udyr Shurima, because I think having access to Deny and Hourglass ends up being really, really good for Udyr. But enough about that. Hope you enjoyed the games today. As always, if you like the content, please be sure to like the video below and subscribe to us. We post LOR videos every single day. You can also find us on Twitch at Twitch Sirturmund. We stream 3 to 4 times a week. And you can also find us on Discord and Twitter. The links to those are both in the description below. You can join our Twitter and just ask Metal for more advice on this deck, because I probably didn't cover everything that Metal will say himself. So anyways, yeah. Have a good one, and I'll see you all again tomorrow.